To order tonight, May 19, 2005, Cecil Zoning Hearing Board. Take roll call from my left to right. Zoning Officer Liz Ross. Chris Volz is the attorney for Cecil Township Zoning Hearing Board. Myself, Troy Gump, Vice Chair. Alan Barney, Secretary. Joseph Flaherty, Alternative. And stenographer Kathy Landock.
Yeah, I think that would be a good time to appoint the alternate.
I'm looking for a motion to appoint Joe Flaherty to be a voting member on tonight, May 19th, 2025 hearings.
I second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. This time I'm looking for a motion to approve the April 21st, 2025 meetings. I will make that motion to approve. Looking for a second.
Am I able to second?
You are, because you were in attendance for these meetings, even though you did not participate.
I second the motion.
All in favor? Aye. 2-0.
And for the record, Mr. Flaherty abstained because he was not in attendance at that hearing. Oh. Correct, Joe, you're abstaining because you were not in attendance.
Correct.
First order of business, application 2025-0001, Wellsburg Church of Washington County, sign variance.
Who do we have here on behalf of the applicant? Okay. Okay. And you, sir? Who are you? You're number two? Okay. Well, before we get started, if you're going to testify tonight, could you stand up, raise your right hand, and have the stenographer swear you in? All right, sir. With that, you can go stand next to Liz, and you can present your case.
Ozimok.
Whichever you're more comfortable.
We had a name change about a year and a half ago.
What's your first name? I'm sorry.
Tom.
Tom. Okay, thank you.
We had a name change about a year and a half ago, and we changed our name from Lakeview Christian Life Church to Wellspring Church. I'm sorry. We changed it from Lakeview Christian Life Church to Wellspring Church. So we needed a new sign for that purpose. So the one that's on the screen right now, this is the sign that our designer came up with that we like. We're here to have a variance because the square footage of the sign is more than what the ordinance allows. This sign, the one that we're looking to get approved, is 4 foot by 7 long, so that's 28 square feet. It'll be the sign itself will be aluminum, all aluminum, a cabinet. It's about a foot deep because it's double-sided, so people will see it from the north and the south coming down Morganza Road. And the lettering and the logo will be pushed through acrylic and be lit on the inside with low-voltage LEDs. So basically, it'll just glow. The letters and the logo will just glow. And then the pillars on the sides and the bottom are all going to be natural cut sandstone, and the lights on the pillars are also just low voltage LEDs just to illuminate the pillars. Gives you the dimensions of the sign as well as the pillars on it. Be approximately 15 to 16 feet from the roadway into our property at our entrance gate. Though, as you see, there's quite, the property that we have is an odd shape, and there's many names on the, that are adjoining our property. However, there's only one property that is actually next to where the sign will be. Most of the other ones are farther back down on Fellowship Drive, going through Cherry, which is moving close to where the sign will be.
Yeah, that would be helpful to go through the 5 variance factors and why this sign's necessary, or the variance is necessary.
That'll be all the way back up to the beginning. There you go.
Question number 1, the new sign will replace the temporary sign at the entrance to our parking lot, our church and school facilities. Property is irregularly shaped, and the redesign of Morganza Road, the new sign will be two-sided, so it's visible from north or south. Our old sign, I'm sure you're familiar with the Beltway project that happened right across the street. Because they redirected Morganza Road, we no longer could use our old sign or that placement because you would only see it if you're driving from Bridgeville going south. You wouldn't see it at all coming up from the Cannonsburg side. So that's why we're moving it out to this location, so that will be seen going north or south. Question number 2. The answer would be, because of the physical circumstances and conditions, there is no possibility that the property can be developed in strictly quantity. Variance is needed to grant more signage surface than is currently allowed by the ordinance. It's 4 by 7, so it's 28 square feet. Number 3, we needed to move the old sign closer to Morganza Road because of the redesign of Morganza Road at our entrance gate. It will not alter or cause any site difficulties to surrounding neighbors. We only have one that's on the north side of our property. It's farther back where this house is. There's no one to the south side. This is a straight shot of Morganza Road throughout. Looking south, Morganza Road's to the right. And that's the temporary sign that we have there now. Another shot looking south as well. This is looking north. You can see the one house that's right there. That's the closest house to the entrance gate. Picture of the
The temporary sign, do you know the approximate square footage of that?
That was a 3 by 5, so we
It was a 3 by 5.
variance on it. Just a temporary.
So that's practically what the ordinance allows.
Right, we stayed within the ordinance. We knew it was going to be temporary.
Yes, sir. One of the reasons you changed the locations from the old sign to the new sign was because of visibility, or?
Correct. Correct. I'll take you back to the picture. Okay, looking south, looking past where the temporary sign is now, you'll see the mulch bed area in the background. You'll see that large Colorado spruce that's in there. The old sign was to the left of it, back in the mulch bed. But since they redesigned Morganza Road and straightened it instead of curving, you wouldn't even see that if you're coming up from the Cannon. You'd have to actually look backwards as you're passing the entrance gate to see it. So that's why we wanted to move it out so that you'd be able to see it north and south.
Now, if granted, will the new sign be on the church's property, or will that be in the right of way?
It would be on the church's property.
We're looking for a 13 square foot increase. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
What was the size of the old sign?
One for Lakeview Christian Life Church?
Yes.
It was a vertical sign, and that was over 35 years old, wooden sign. Probably 10 foot high by 7 foot, the sign itself, and then it had pillars, wooden fake pillars on the sides. It was more vertical than fully.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was pretty old. It's been around a long time.
I would like to make one comment from a zoning perspective in that, being in the R1 district is the reason that they are limited to the 15 square foot. Should it been zoned non-residential, they're allowed to be up to 50 square feet. So, as far as standards for a church or a non-residential use, they're not looking, to go larger than that. Just adding to their hardship would be the fact that they're in the residential zone. Does that make sense?
So if they were anywhere else,
They would
The
be
zoning
allowed to have
ordinance
it. They wouldn't
would
need
allow
the
it up to
variance.
50.
Yes.
And in the one photo, you could see one residence approximately, what was that, 100 feet away, or was it?
Right there.
That one right there.
On Morganza, are there other dwellings?
Besides that one that you can see in the picture, the next dwelling going up would be the entrance to Cherry Brook, which is at the top of the hill.
And on the picture, it had for the design for the new sign, it had spotlights going on it. But you said it was going to be more illuminated from the inside, or is it also going to have those spotlights on it too as well?
The sign itself will be illuminated inside the cabinet.
Okay.
They're acrylic letters and logos, so it makes those glow.
Okay.
And then the low voltage lighting will only be on the pillars
Okay.
itself, just to illuminate the sandstone.
Yes.
It's not on.
Yes, sir.
Will it be all lit 24/7? Like, will it be all night?
It'll be on a photo cell, so
So
it'll be
yes.
dawn, dusk to dawn.
Yeah.
See if anybody else wants to say anything. I don't think
Would anybody else like to make an additional comment or a question? This time I'm looking for a motion.
I make a motion to approve the variance to increase it by 13 square foot to 28 square feet.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You'll get a letter in the mail confirming this and all that stuff. So you're done.
Very
Thank you.
much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
At this time, we'll hear application 2025-0002, William and Lisa Bruce, special exemption and variance.
Hello? Hello?
I'm William Bruce. I do go by my middle name, Rob. So, and I'm going to represent our house. I guess I'll just go to the questions. So for our variance, we're looking for a variance on property size. I guess we're below the needed amount of acreage. So we're looking for a variance there. I don't know if I answered this correctly, but again, the acreage, we need a variance to meet the physical circumstances or conditions of the property. Unnecessary hardship, question 3. I just put we have not altered our property in any way. I'm not sure if I addressed that correctly. 4, the variance if approved will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. I put we have no signage, any structures that are separate from our home, and we believe there's plenty of room. We have about a 3 or 4 car driveway. I don't have the exact specs, but it's a fairly wide driveway for drop off and pickup. And then question 5, the variance if approved. If the variance is approved, there's nothing that's going to be needed to be done to our existing house or lot, line everywhere else.
Could you just explain to the board what you're planning to do with the property, just so they understand and have an understanding about, what you're doing, why you're here, and,
Yeah.
why you need relief?
Yeah, so we moved into the home in June of 23, and my wife's been a teacher. We have 5 children, so it's hard to teach and be gone. So as a way to supplement our income, she's been watching children at the house. So we need the variance to allow her to watch children at the house and secure some additional income for the household. And so we've been there, she's been doing it, and then we're trying to, I didn't realize that we needed an ordinance, honestly, or a variance. So when we found out, obviously we addressed it, but she has been doing it, I think, with good results. I don't believe had any complaints in our neighborhood or anything. It's very non-intrusive, I believe, to the neighbors, so I'm hoping we'll be able to get the variance.
You mentioned your wife has done this in the past as a babysitter, or what was her capacity? And what's her certifications?
She has a master's in special education, and she has all of her certifications for resuscitation. I don't know what they exactly are, but she has her certifications for CPR, and she has a master's in education. She had a 10-year teaching degree or 10-year teaching career, and then again we have 5 children, so as the children got certain ages and there's a certain number of them, it's just hard for her to hold down a full-time or even a part-time job away from the house. But she did, like I said, she's very educated, and she completes all the necessary, medical certifications for what she's doing.
And where did she last perform those duties?
Her last, she watched kids at a previous house, and then here. So it's only been a short while, like 2 years.
And with it, was it just been as of like right now, almost like babysitting, or did you guys go through the proper steps of like, you know, I don't want to say proper in this situation, but did you guys go through the steps of getting like licensed through the state or anything along those lines too as well to operate as a daycare?
She's not over the threshold. She's more like a babysitter because
Okay.
she's not over the threshold for needing a full like home inspection type thing.
Okay. How many kids then at the daycare?
It's 3
Okay.
most, yeah. Sometimes there's a baby, so there's like 2.5 to 3, I guess.
Was there any plans for like maximum amount of kids or anything along that way that you guys would have in the house at any given time for the business?
I think she's comfortable where she's at, and
Okay.
then honestly, I think in the next year she's going to transition back to teaching because my youngest one will be in full time. Well, she's in full time school this year.
Mm-hmm.
She's in kindergarten. We were able to get her into a full. She was supposed to be half day for Muse, but they let her go the full day program. So we didn't know that, and I think she's going to wind it down if she can get back into teaching because then all the kids will be in school bell to bell. So, but for the interim, we're hoping to get it maybe to the end of this school year and until she can secure the teaching job.
On your application, you show 11 properties within 300 feet of you. Were there any objections from any of those people?
I mean, we haven't heard anything from any of our neighbors. I think we have good relationships separate from this, and I haven't heard anything regarding this from anybody.
I'd like to make note that it was brought to the township's attention with people questioning what we knew about it, if they were licensed, if they received any approvals or permits to operate, because they were either interested in sending their kids there or they had friends that were interested in sending their kids there. No one was complaining about the operation. You know, that's how it was brought to the township's attention.
Did you say you go by Rob? Is that right?
I do.
Okay. One of the requirements is that the facility be licensed by the Commonwealth. Are you saying due to your size you aren't required to be licensed? Is that what I heard you say?
She's more versed, but I'm sure it's over 3 children you are required to be licensed. Under 3 is non-licensed is fine.
You mentioned you guys have children. Was it 5
Yes.
plus the 3?
Right. They're mostly gone. I mean, I guess there's a transition period from like 8 o'clock till 8:20 when my children hit the bus and the other children are coming in. But technically, she's watching 3 other children, and then my kids are gone. And then as they come home, the other kids leave. So it's pretty seamless as far as like the number of kids in the home, which I mean, she's technically, your family members don't qualify as my understanding as far as like the state goes. Like that's above and beyond your household. But it's not in combination. It's one or the other. Typically, is my kids or the other children she watches. They're going to be at our house, except for again maybe a 15-minute overlap ish.
What hours are the 3 kids at your house? Not the ones related, not your children, but the 3 your wife's caring for.
I had to give you hours 8 to 4.
Okay. And you said at most you have 3 kids at any one time,
Yeah,
not related to you, not your own children.
right.
It's just your wife, no other employees or anything like that.
No.
Is this a 5-day-a-week operation, or would it be a 7?
No. It's just during Monday through Friday. she's doesn't do anything on the weekends because our kids are home. And there's never been a demand, I guess. So.
And you said, just to reiterate, whenever your youngest moves on to first grade, that'd be something that would probably go away with wife potentially going back to work as a teacher.
She's interviewing now, so
Okay.
I mean, I can't say she's gonna immediately do it, but her goal,
Right.
I think she enjoys it, but at the same time, I think she's ready to have a more regular job. Than it's a
Yeah.
lot of diaper changing and things like that. She'd
No.
rather be a teacher again, I believe. So
Both my kids went through daycare. I get it. So
yeah.
it's a lot.
The kids that she's babysitting for, do they have a designated area in the house, or they have free game?
No, she has like in the entryway, she has like an area for each of them have their own little tray with like their clothes or diapers. And then our basement is the place she watches them. And there's tables set up for them. It's all like kid proof. There's like, she has all I think there's pictures possibly. I don't, so this is the one on the left or on my left with the sun rug. That's kind of like the entry area where they like take off their shoes. There's a place for their shoes. Their diapers are stored or extra clothes, backpacks and stuff. And then the second photo on the other side is the basement where she has a bunch of things and activities and books. That's where they spend the majority of their time, except for when they come in.
Chris, this question might be geared a little more toward you. Since Cecil Township calls this technically a daycare home, would the state require any background checks, come into the facility and make sure it's equipped properly?
You know, I don't know the answer to that. That was kind of my question to the applicant. Like, are you saying you don't need any licenses to do this? But generally speaking, yeah, people who are responsible for the care, custody, and control of children need to get those 3 background checks. You know, the child abuse ones, the FBI, and the state police. I assume your wife has all those clearances, especially if she was a teacher before.
I mean, she had him as a teacher, but again, I think being non-licensed, she hasn't had to do any of that. Again, we met with a woman who advises of that when she was first starting out at our other home, that there's a threshold.
Licensed by the Commonwealth, located within the 12.
What are the age ranges of the kids, the 3 kids that are there currently right now?
So it's 4 months, 2 years, and 2 years.
Okay.
Am I safe to say that you or your wife has not contacted the state to see if there were any guidelines that you had to follow? Because I've been in a few of these dealings before, and they have a pretty tight narrative that they stick to.
Again, we lived in Meadowbrook by the casino, and we spoke with a woman then, and she went over, like, there would be a house inspection. We went over, like, the 2 possibilities, and if you were 3 or under, it was just, You can watch them. It's almost like being a babysitter, I guess. It's less formal. And then when you could be on 3, there's staffing and there's ratios you have to adhere to, and then a home inspection and other stuff that I think you guys are referring to. So it was but below that certain threshold, there was really no regulation that we were told. It was just you're watching children as a babysitter, I guess.
Speaking of thresholds, do you anticipate yourself or your dwelling
Having more
accommodating more than 5?
Like of my own children?
No.
No, no more children for her. Again, she's trying to transition away, so she's trying to keep extra income while she goes back to teaching. So we're not going to bring in any more children to watch, and none of our own either.
I would think if we were going to approve this, we would definitely put a cap number on the individuals. There was a photograph of your property. It was fenced in. Your
Yeah.
property extends past that, or is that the envelope of the size of the yard?
I actually don't know. I don't think we own any of the property. It's a pretty steep hillside, so I believe our property ends at our fence or maybe a little beyond the fence, but then there's really unusable land, and I'd have to double check my property line, but the way we act or use it, that fence lines are farthest we go.
Are we calling this something other than a daycare home? Or is this what we're going with?
I think that was the definition of the variance. That was like the variance calls it a daycare home, so that's why I put it on there, but
To your point, I think that's the big question, though, because a daycare home is a facility licensed by the Commonwealth. And I think we have, at the very least, a question about whether this is or should be licensed by the Commonwealth. We heard, not to discount you, I just don't know
right.
whether 3 or under is a magic number for not needing a license, or if there's any other requirements that you need. You guys want to go to executive session real quick?
Yeah, I think we should.
You can just hang tight. We're going to go talk about this in executive session, and we'll be back in a few minutes.
Okay.
It's unlocked.
Do you have June 16th?
Meeting back to order.
7:40.
All right. So, Rob, we were talking back in executive session, and I think one of the things the board is going to do, and we hope you're agreeable to this, your wife's still operating the daycare.
Right.
We'll call it a daycare home as we speak, right? You haven't been shut down or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we want to do is we're going to continue this to next month. And in that time, we want you to contact the state, go through the state regulations, and kind of get us the documentation and the proof that if it's 3 kids or less than 3 kids, that you don't need a license from the Commonwealth. Because if that's the case, then I think a lot of this gets a lot easier to the extent that you might not even need our approval at all.
Okay.
So when you get that information, submit it to Liz, just like you submitted your last application. Our hearings are the 3rd Mondays. The next one would be June 16th. So if you could get it to us by then and then just come back and review it with us, I think that's the cleanest way to, address the issue with the ordinance
Yeah.
and go from there. Because I'm sure you anticipate, kids are involved. We just want to make sure that if we're
Yeah.
approving something, we have the basis to do it.
No, I understand the multi-layers, so I assume that should be plenty of time to talk to them. And
Yeah, and I bet she can get this answered pretty quickly. So,
Yeah.
with that, Mr. Gump, would you like to make a motion or ask somebody for a motion?
I ask you that date one more time. I apologize.
Yeah, no problem. June 16,
Thank
Monday,
you.
7 o'clock.
Asking for a motion to continue till the next June meeting, 19th, 2025.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0.
And for the record, June 16th, right? All right, we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, Jordan.
A second.
Meeting called 7:44.
Yeah, thank you.